Here in New York City was, of course, to hand out all the money, the awards and trophies for a successful 1989 season.
Millions of dollars were passed out here. Of course, they'll be looking for those big bucks next year in 1990. Concerning 1990, some announcements were made, the Winston and some other things, for a wrap-up of the news and the other awards. Let's go to Randy Pemberton.
The news this week begins with the announcement and return of the Winston to the Charlotte Motor Speedway for 1990. The event has been changed somewhat from past seasons. This year they'll run 50 laps, followed by a brief intermission, and then a 20-lap dash for cash. Another of NASCAR's special races, the Busch Clash. That field has also been finalized. Greg Sachs was the recipient of the wild card position, filling out that field. Well, there has been a change in crew chiefs for next year. Mike Beam has left Bahari Racing and will join up with the Elliott team for the 1990 season. Also, NASCAR has given verbal clearance for Mike Alexander to return to Winston Cup racing next season. Of course, Mike has just recently recovered from injuries that he sustained in a crash last season. He will drive for Bobby Allison and hopefully on a full scheduled basis next season. Well, of course, Rusty Wallace was the big winner here at the Waldorf Astoria, but there were many other honors given out. Let's take a look at the highlights of the 1989 Winston Cup Awards banquet. The Champion Sears Rookie of the Year Award is determined by a point system based on a rookie's best 15 finishes. To be eligible, a driver must not have run in more than 5 races in any previous season. Dick Trickle beat out Hut Strickland for that $20,000 prize.
Oh, it's exciting. You can win races last year, this year, and next year, but you can only win the rookie championship one year, and that's in 1989. And we did it, we won it. It's mine. I can put it in the portfolio. I'll have it for the rest of my life. I mean, it's a dream come true.
Dale Earnhardt captured the $100,000 from the Unocal Corporation. The Unocal Winners Contingency Fund award uses the Winston Cup point system standings contingent upon the fact a driver uses Unocal oil and lubricants.
They've been super to us, been super to our sport and race, and NASCAR's grown a lot in the years past, and Unocal's been right there to help us grow and been supporting our sport right on. And it's great to win this award. I've got a lot of great friends with Unocal and the people up at Unocal, but it is great to have a company to work with like it in racing.
Mark Martin picked up $30,000 for the Busch Pole Award by virtue of his 6 pole positions this season. Alan Kowicki also picked up 6 poles this season, but had less outside poles. $3,000 was awarded to each pole winner throughout the season.
We had a great year this year, and Busch posts a good deal of money out there for the poles and the Busch Clash and everything like that, and we went after it, with everything that we had.
The True Value Hard Charger this year was no surprise. Dale Earnhardt captured the prize, which awards points to the top 5 drivers throughout each Winston Cup event to determine its winner. Robin Pemberton, crew chief for Mark Martin, captured 2 $1,000 Mechanic of the Race awards this season. The award given out each race, coupled with a cumulative point system for each team's chief mechanic, also won him the TRW Mechanic of the Year, worth $20,000.
Thank you very much. Everybody's put 100% into their job, all of our people, and they work so hard. I wish that they could have this feeling that I do about this award, and the only thing that I can do is help spread out the Christmas cheer a little bit,
The Van Camp's Determination Award is presented to the driver accumulating the most points, yet not having won a race since 1986, but having entered at least 10 races in 1988. That award went to Mark Martin based on his contest points totals prior to his first win in the AC Delco 500. Martin beat out Sterling Marlin for the $20,000 award.
Thanks again, Van Camps, for your support of the Determination Award, and we look forward to seeing someone else run for your money next year.
The Michigan McCord Engine Builder of the Year Award is determined by awarding points to the entered engine builders in selected Winston Cup races. The $20,000 year-end bonus this year belonged to Rick Witzel of the Ken Schrader team.
Well, I just can't take all the credit. because there's just Randy Dorton, who helped get me down here, Rick Henry for supplying everything to us, and Ken Bingham at B&R, and just the list goes on and on. But I just really feel as though this is just such a great honor.
Ricky Rudd captured the Sears Die Hard Racer Award. The award based on miles completed by drivers utilizing Sears Die Hard batteries. Rudd received $15,000 through his consistent finishes this season.
Well, I think the biggest thing, I think it says a lot for the guys back at the shop. I wish Larry McReynolds or Lou LaRosa could have come up here tonight and had the chance to come to New York and accepted the award, because really it's a preparation award, and I think that kind of award goes to the team that sets the car up and nothing falls off the car. The motors hang together better than anybody else out there on the circuit. So it's more or less a team award, but I'm glad to accept it in their behalf.
We need to take a short break. Still to come on Inside Winston Cup Racing is a chat with the 1989 NASCAR Winston Cup champion, Rusty Wallace.
And Ned, in this week's NASCAR Notebook, we'll explore why the spark plug is so important to a racing engine. We'll be right back.
It's just unreal. It's the most beautiful feeling in the whole world. And I told him, I said, I wish every driver could experience this one time, because it's a wonderful feeling.
I couldn't imagine owning anything but a pickup. And from what I know about hauling stuff, I couldn't imagine owning anything but a big Ford. You see, this Ford's got a longer, deeper box that can handle a bigger payload than any Chevy its size.
The big Ford pickup. #1 for all the right reasons.
Maybe that's why more folks drive Fords than any other truck.
The best-built American trucks are built Ford tough.
When we set out to engineer the ultimate spark plug, we put in a lot of long hours. We utilized a lot of revolutionary thinking. And all the while, our competition thought we were just shooting for the moon. Unfortunately for them, we shot a bit higher than that. Bosch Platinum, the ultimate spark plug.
Available at Kmart and other fine auto parts stores. Installed at most precision tune centers.
The canoe message. C, come on over. A, alone. N, now. O, E, etc.
Oh, canoe.
The cologne by Dana. Wear it. She'll get the message.
You're watching TNN. You might have forgotten that, because you ain't heard no country music today.
Here's a little something to tide you over. 1 step forward and 2 steps back.
A long shot at love is better than no shot. 'Cause South's gonna do it again.
That ought to hold you for a while.
Now, would you do us a favor?
Pass the word, my friend. Good things happen on TNN.
George Jones, Lori Morgan, Rudy Gatlin, and Steve Gatlin. Lori Ann Crook gets close to these celebrities off stage. Wednesday, 10:30 p.m. Eastern on TNN.
On the morning of the NASCAR Winston Cup Awards banquet, Rusty let us ride along in his chauffeured limousine as the hours passed before he would receive his honors as the new Winston Cup champion. Do you ever stop to realize that you're living a fantasy? I mean, you're a professional race car driver, and people look up to you, and you're young, in your early 30s, and you've already won the Winston Cup championship. Did you think it would happen this fast?
No, I really didn't, and it wouldn't have happened unless I would have got together with my very first car owner, who was Cliff Stewart, who gave me the break to get into Winston Cup racing. And then when I joined the Blue Max team in '86, a bunch of young individuals set out on a goal to be successful and win and be a dominant force of Winston Cup racing. And we did that, and we learned, and we got better and better. And then in 1989, we finally reached our ultimate goal. That was 5 years, and I just didn't think it would happen that fast. I really didn't. And it's been a dream come true. It really has. But Barry Dodson, Jimmy Makar, Harold Elliott, David Evans, all the guys in the engine shop, all the guys in the other shop, and all the sponsors that have helped us, it's just not me. I'm only the pilot that drives the car, and I'm the guy that gets all the limelight, because I guess somebody's got to get it. But those guys are unsung heroes, I tell you, and they deserve a lot. It's wonderful that we all are that great of friends. Through all the controversy we've been through in 1989, we proved that we're together thick and thin, and that all the little stuff didn't affect our performance.
This is an exciting time for Rusty Wallace. I mean, you've won the championship. You've got a big sponsor coming on next year. You're going to have national recognition. I mean, you're going to be a celebrity. How has that affected you?
Well, I don't know. It's kind of scary in a way, because I look at different athletes that have reached their ultimate goal in life, and there's so much built up behind it that a guy can't believe this is really happening. And then something unfortunate happens, and a guy suffers a lot of bad problems, and when he can't, everything, what I'm trying to say is everything's there. If I can enjoy and do the things that are happening like right now, to win the Winston Cup title, to sign a 4-year, no-option contract with the brewery, knowing that I've got a big sponsorship program put together with those people, and they've been wonderful to me, and know I just won the championship, and know that I can go for the next 4 years confident that I can drive my... A lot of people say, oh, heck, you got a 4-year deal, now you're going to get lazy. That's not the way I look at it. I got a 4-year deal, now I can forget about everything, no worries, just drive my guts out. That's what I'm going to do. If I can do that, what a life it'll be.
Congratulations, Rusty. I've held on to this for long enough. It's all yours. Congratulations.
Oh, God. I'm loving it. I'm loving it, I'm loving it, I'm loving it. You guys are number one. Oh, guys, I don't need this thing, I'll tell you. You know, a long time ago, this whole thing was a dream. I think 18 years ago, 17 years ago, I started thinking about trying to Winston Cup race. I think every individual out there who wanted to race always thought about Winston Cup racing. 6 short years ago, I got my first break when Cliff Stewart decided to give me a chance and drive his Gatorade Pontiac. And I won the Rookie of the Year just like my buddy Dick Trickle did this year. And then a real break came in '86 when Raymond Beadle decided to take a chance with a young punk and give him a chance, you know. But I rebounded with, we won 2 races. We won 2 again in '87, and it hasn't stopped yet. You know, one thing I said I was going to do, and by God I mean it, I'm going to be the best champion that I can possibly be. I'm going to make myself very available. I'm going to work very good with the press. I'm going to uphold NASCAR, RJ Reynolds, my new sponsor, Miller Genuine Draft, and everybody. And I am simply going to be the best of all possible. In closing, I just like to thank my wife, Patty, for everything she's done. She's number one in my heart. I love her to death. And I love you all. Thank you very much.
Just ahead on Inside Winston Cup Racing, we'll take a look at how such a small item like a spark plug plays a big role in a Winston Cup motor. We'll be right back.
Hidden beach, it doesn't get any better. The heat of the day, ooh, the cool of the spray, it doesn't get any better than this. There's only one law, let the good time pour. You couldn't care less, who could ask for more? It doesn't get any better.
Old Milwaukee Light.
It doesn't get any better than this.
All of these championship-winning drivers have one thing in common: Goodyear Racing Eagles. The race-winning technology that's found in the Goodyear Racing Eagles can also be found in the Goodyear Eagle line of high-performance street radials, the best-selling performance tires in the world. Goodyear Eagles, for the spirit of a champion that's in all of us.
Season's greetings from country music's Male Vocalist of the Year.
Silver bells.
In his first Christmas special, Ricky Van Shelton shares his favorite Christmas classics and introduces one that will soon be a favorite of yours.
Well, there is nothing like country Christmas.
This is one country Christmas special to remember. Ricky Van Shelton sings Christmas. Monday, 10:30 Eastern on TNN.
Next week here on Inside Winston Cup Racing, we'll give you a rare look at how victory lane ceremonies work at a Winston Cup race.
We'll also look back at some of the most memorable comments of the 1989 season.
To have the fans change the way they have and feel the way they do is probably my biggest accomplishment in this sport to date.
And we'll tell you how you can join the Inside Winston Cup Racing Sports Club and show you the 1990 Winston Cup schedule. Ned, we hear the term setup an awful lot in Winston Cup Racing. Teams spend a lot of time and a lot of money trying to find the right combination, they call it. Well, a chassis man will read the tires to see how the car's handling.
You know, it seems like there's an expert in just about every phase of the race car nowadays. Now, when a fellow starts to try to read the engine, he looks at the spark plugs. And that is the subject of this week's NASCAR Notebook.
Today's NASCAR Notebook is brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately?
One of the most commonly used expressions in Winston Cup Racing is plug check.
This thing feels pretty good. You want me to get a plug check this next time? If this tire temps look good to me, then I'm going to go ahead and just get a plug check. What do you think? 10-4, it'd be good.
So, what exactly is a plug check?
Well, what they do is they go out, and after they run so many laps, if you idle it in, so to speak, you get sooty fuel deposits on the thing, and it, so to speak, it covers up what you're trying to look at. So what they do is, going down the straightaway, usually going down the back straightaway, they'll cut it clean. What they do is kick in the clutch, knock it out of gear, turn off the ignition more or less simultaneously. And what that does is they do that at more or less peak RPM, and it's like taking a snapshot of what's going on in the cylinder at that instant. And you get a much more accurate idea of what's going on and what to do if a problem exists.
We know a lot of you weekend mechanics change your own spark plugs at home, and so do I about once a year. But what you may not know is that Winston Cup teams change their plugs as many as 5 times in one practice day.
What they do is they put a set of plugs in and they go out and practice a given number of laps depending on what they're trying to accomplish. And they'll come in, take the plugs out, and you'll see them arrange them in a little block in the same order that they came out of an engine. Then we just get together and look at the plugs, and you can tell if there's too much ignition advance, too little, too much or too little fuel, if the heat range is correct, and there's probably any one of a number of problems. You can spot probably 30 or 40 problems.
Well, basically what you're looking for is a carburation, how that motor is jetted. You're looking for ignition timing, multitude of things. You're looking if the engine's using oil. You're looking if you're starting to melt a piston or have serious problems. It's a way of fine-tuning an engine.
We use the coloration on the spark plug to indicate the fuel mixture. The darker the spark plug is in various areas, the richer, the more fuel there is in the cylinder, the less temperature, and for the most part, the less power.
You know, it's got a center wire that, you know, is a steel piece, and it'll show up temperature. Cylinder temperature, operating temperature. Well, you know, you can look at the discoloration, turning blue, actually, you know, just about melting the wire. You can look at that and get some idea of what kind of temperature you have.
Although there are many experts in the garage area at reading spark plugs, just like any good doctor, these guys value a second opinion.
All you can do is have an idea of what to look for, and then look at about 20,000 spark plugs. And pretty soon you start to see and start to learn certain common denominators, common experiences that everyone has. And it's rather like a snowball rolling down the hill. It just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. I am no kind of expert, and that's the honest truth. I learn stuff every race I go to, at least one thing, usually 2 or 3 things. And it's a process, you refine it for the rest of your life.
Now, Earl Parker Jr. was being modest when he said he was not an expert. Now, we know that he's been around spark plugs since he was a baby.
Yes, his dad was Earl Parker Sr., who was with Champion Spark Plug when I was racing, and certainly one of the most respected and needed people in racing.
A couple of weeks ago, we announced the formation of the Inside Winston Cup Racing Sports Club, and now here's how you can become a member.
Join the club. For a limited time only, we're offering charter memberships in the Inside Winston Cup Racing Sports Club. As a charter member, you'll receive the exclusive Sports Club edition of the Inside Winston Cup Racing Bloops and Blunders tape. All Inside Winston Cup Racing Sports Club members will receive a membership certificate and card, a keychain with the 1990 Winston Cup schedule, an Inside Winston Cup Racing Sports Club decal, and autograph card. Join the club. Get on track. Get information on the drivers, racing events, and driving schools.
Steve, there have been 2 prominent driving schools in the past, Bob Bondurant and Book the Buck. Golly, Martin. Steve, in the past we've talked about driving schools, the Bob Bondurant Driving School in California, the Buck Baker Driving School in North Carolina, and now there's another third. Steve, we talked about race driving schools. The Bob Bondurant School in California, the Buck Baker Driving School in North Carolina, and now there's another one, and my tongue won't work.
And remember, as a charter member, you'll receive this blooper tape and a quarterly newsletter. For more information on how to become a member of the Inside Winston Cup Racing Sports Club, call 1-800-692-7777. Join the club.
Our time's up for today. Hope you enjoyed the show from here in New York City. And Steve, I guess it's time for us to put our duds back in the closet for another year.
That's right. It's only once a year we get to put these things on.
Yeah.
We'll see you next week here on TNN. Thanks for watching.
Today's show has been brought to you by Ford and your local Ford dealer, winning the world over with 1989 trucks that are built Ford tough. And by Old Milwaukee and Old Milwaukee Light. It doesn't get any better than this. And by Goodyear Eagle Tires. Goodyear, because there really is a difference. Clothing for Inside Winston Cup Racing provided by Sports Image. Jackets, sweatshirts, and hats now available for Dale Earnhardt, Rusty Wallace, Neil Bonnet, and Davey Allison. Credit cards only. Call 1-800-932-8888. Send check or money order to P.O. Box 240417, Charlotte, North Carolina, 28224. Communications for the Inside Winston Cup Racing crew provided by Racing Radios, Forest Park, Georgia, the official communications of NASCAR. Ground transportation for the crew of Inside Winston Cup Racing is provided by Fleetwood Enterprises, makers of this 34-foot Pace Aero motorhome and a full line of other excellent recreational vehicles.
The aluminum can recycler. Kid drops in can, tries to score basket. But his pride and joy is deep fry. The problem is vegetable oil costs twice as much as gasoline or diesel, but if farmers increased output, veggie oil could be competitive. the U.S. would be less dependent on imports, and Wyszynski would be rich. And what does the government say?
Some of them have responded kindly by saying, we share your thoughts. Hello and goodbye. Typical of our bureaucracy.
And Texaco?
They say, drop dead.
Too bad. Diesel puts out a black smoke. Switch to peanut oil, and the exhaust is blue, with less pollution. And...
smells better.
You're running low on fuel. You'd pull into the Gulf station. Not Wyszynski. He pulls into McDonald's and says, fill her up.
Hi, thanks for waiting. Can I take your order, please?
Yeah, I'd like a Big Mac, a small French fry, and I tell you, you think you can give me some that deep fry oil?
If McDonald's doesn't, Burger King does, where Wyszynski has it his way. So give this old rabbit some grease, and it'll get up and go. Charles Murphy, ABC News, Monticello, New York.
Sometimes wonder how he finds them. That's our report on World News Tonight. We'll see you again tomorrow. I'm Peter Jennings. Good night.